So evidently you're an engineer and you came up with this basically an adapter for the Coravin that allows you to connect a large bottle of argon to it. So you can actually really expand your overall by the glass menu, right?
Absolutely. I have restaurants that went from 8 bottles to 80 bottles. Every client can have a bottle of wine.
Hello and welcome to a gadget edition of This Week Uncorked. Today we're going to talk about one of the coolest gadgets I've ever seen. I am here with John Steach from ArgonWineAdapters.com, John's Wine Solutions. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. So this is kind of crazy. So basically I was out at Matthiasson Vineyards and I was talking with Steve Matthiasson. We did a long interview with him. And afterwards, we're kind of hanging out in the little back room a little bit. And he's got the Coravin hanging on the wall with a long hose coming off of it. And I go, "What did you do to your Coravin?" And he goes, "Well, let me tell you." And he made the introduction to me and you. And it's pretty cool. For those that don't know, Coravin is a really cool little device that you basically take this needle that's on here, and it goes down into the wine bottle, pumps some argon gas in there, and you're able then to pour a single glass of wine. For those of you that maybe you have some super, super fine wines and you're, just wanting to have one glass of them, or maybe you had a bottle and you just want to have one glass more, or you want to kind of go through, the Coravin's an amazing device. One of the problems with the Coravin is that it can be expensive. So, John, how much are these little argon cartridges that they sell?
$5 to $7. So it ends up being about 40 to 60 cents a pour.
So you're doing this with a really good bottle of wine usually, and you're putting it in. And so that's kind of one of the big downsides, is that you always have to have these cartridges around, and you always are having to, you don't really get many glasses. How many glasses do you get out of these things?
They say 12, but most people 9 or 10.
9 or 10. That's it. So evidently you're an engineer and you came up with this basically an adapter for the Coravin that allows you to connect a large bottle of argon to it. So how did this all come about?
Yeah, Rosine's Mediterranean Restaurant, Anaheim Hills, a buddy of mine got a Coravin and he said, "This is great." And I said, "Well, if you want to pay 50 cents a pour or more," he goes, "Well, I'm not paying that. Figure out how to hook it to a tank." And 4 weeks later, I had my first generation, and it sat there for about a month. And then other folks from other restaurants and wine bars came in and said, "Hey, I want this." So that's how it all came to be conceptualized.
And you support all sorts, I guess every country's a little different with their tanks. So you've got a kind of a whole wide range of products around this, right?
Yeah, there's about 7 different argon tanks around the world with all different fittings. And I had the ability to find sources for those, so I can go anywhere in the world with this setup. And I have thousands of them in Asia and Europe and United States. So it's quite remarkable.
It's pretty cool. So what's the overall cost on something like this? So, I mean, I imagine that the return on investment is probably pretty quick for someone who's using the Coravin a lot, at say $7 a pop.
Yeah, I figured about 20 cases of wine and it's paid for.
Wow.
So it's really, for a wine bar or a restaurant, winery, it's a game changer for them. There's no waste. I mean, there's no shrinkage anymore.
Right. So you can actually really expand your overall by the glass menu, right?
Absolutely. I have restaurants that went from 8 bottles to 80 bottles. Every client can have a bottle of wine.
Right. They come in every time and it's just, they're waiting for them, right? Sure, we'll pour you a glass of this. So how are you getting this to market? Has it just all been word of mouth, or?
Yeah, it was slow at first. There really isn't a great avenue other than maybe Wine Spectator or something, where they want $25,000 a month to put in an ad. And I thought, nah, I don't think that's really the way to go. And so it's been slow. I call it my 15-minute a day job. But I'm selling them and people are enjoying them, and word of mouth is pretty prolific. So it's starting to move a little bit better now.
Fantastic. And so what do they retail for?
The least expensive version you can get is $259. That comes with the regulator, 5 foot of tubing, and an adapter handle that connects to the Coravin. Right. So you're just short a Coravin in a tank to make it work.
And you also, I think you developed some sort of a refillable argon so waiters can actually go tableside. It's like a different tube.
Yeah. So what I did is I made a little bit bigger vessel. I'll pull it back, and it's quite easy to hook on. It's a miniature air hose, and it just clips on, and then you use a slide check to slide it up, and gas goes in. It takes about a second. It's actually faster to refill it than it is to change the capsule. Pull it down, disconnect it, and now we have argon. Depending on the size of the regulator, we have some wine stores or restaurants that actually like to do most of it behind the bar.
Right.
So they will use a polyurethane hose that can stretch to 8 feet. This is how it's connected to the cylinder.
Right.
The beauty of it is it's always connected, and you never run out of capsules. You can put the refill handle on this one with the polyurethane hose. When you do that, you get 2 glasses. So if you have a little bit of a table service, not much, it's a way to get by. There's
if you just disconnect the hose from that, you get 2 glasses.
Yeah. So if you put on this polyurethane hose, if you put the refill handle on there, this will give you enough when you disconnect it for 2 glasses of wine.
Okay.
With the polyurethane hose. Now, if you go to the 800 psi, which would be this stainless steel tubing,
yep,
then you can get 12 glasses of wine.
Wow. And so, what's that whole kind of
to use connected?
What does that whole setup run someone in a restaurant? They wanted to go with the whole thing.
This one right here with the 800 psi setup and the stainless steel tubing's $389.
Not bad. And so when we were talking the other day, I had no idea about this. So the big thing is you buy this, but then you have to you need to get a tank. I know you sell tanks as well, right?
I do for the people that can't find them. They're always available if you just look hard enough.
So but there are different types of argon, you were saying.
Yeah, there's actually 3 types of argon. There's an ultra high pure, which is a 99.9, scientific grade, medical grade that Coravin uses. Then there's the food grade, which is 99.8. And then there's an industrial with the, welding argon, which is 99.7. So
there's really only 0.1% in purity, huh?
Yeah. So it's really not much. I mean, in the scheme of things, anytime you put the Coravin needle inside the cork, you're putting oxygen molecules into the wine anyway. So right. Losing that 0.1% on the food grade is negligible, I believe. I've tested it. I don't really find anything less than 6 months that would make me believe that ultra high pures is not as good. I'm sorry, that food grade isn't as good as ultra high pure.
Okay. What about the welding one? Any difference with that? Or
half of my clients use industrial argon because that's all they can find, but they're going through wines about every 3 to 4 weeks. So that's not been a problem either. I'm thinking industrial at 99.7 is probably good for 3 or 4 months in a bottle, at least if it's half full or more. If it's got 1 glass left in it, maybe not.
Got it. So, fascinating to me that, in getting this, because I've been looking at it and trying to figure out, okay, where can I get this? And, I live in Las Vegas now, and it seems like all I could find was industrial grade. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to be good enough or not. But my guess is if I Coravin a bottle, it's not usually to put it away, right? It's just, right. Hey, I'm going to have 2 glasses. And then the next day, I'm probably going to open it and pour out those final 2 glasses and finish it because I'm not at a restaurant. So we're just a individual. And I don't know, do you have any individuals that are just crazy wine people that
I do. Probably 10% of my sales are to individuals and a lot of sommeliers, people go into sommelier school because they're tasting 60 to 80 to 100 bottles of wine at a time. And right. They keep pulling the corks, and the Coravin capsules are killing them because they're not making any money. So for them, this is a godsend.
Well, I would imagine. That's crazy. All right. Anything else? So how do people find you?
Word of mouth. When they go Argon hacks, sometimes I pop up. If they go through a half a page. I've been doing this from 2015, so just about anything you put in that says Coravin, I'll pop up. Especially if you go to images.
Fantastic. So basically, CoravinWineAdapter.com. Yeah.
Oh no, Argon Wine Adapter.
I'm sorry. Argon Wine Adapter. You probably couldn't use Coravin. You might
add
get in
Coravin
trouble.
in there.
You might get in trouble if you did that. I can't
Oh, yeah.
imagine they're particularly pleased because this is kind of like a printer and ink cartridges for them kind of thing, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, that they sent cease and cease letters to a lot of my clients and to me, and threatened to sue me a few times. And, basically they don't have much leverage. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just adding a mag wheel to a car, or adding floor mats to a car, or adding printer ink to a printer. I'm not changing their design. And I'm not saying that I'm affiliated with them. But my Coravin, my adapter can be used with their product.
Do you have any other products? Is there anybody competition out there and anything else you can use it with?
Yeah, this came out in 2015, so a couple of people have copied me. Although they work, they're slightly inferior. They pump really slow. They don't pump at the same speed that the Coravin does, so they're using a lesser quality hose and maybe a lesser quality ingredients or materials. So people that have theirs, sometimes they've had them for a couple of years, and then they call me up and go, "Oh, my unit broke." I said, "Can you send me a picture of it?" And they send me a picture, and I go, "Well, that's not mine." But he says, "I'll send you mine and test it, and if you like it, you can buy it." And I've never had one returned.
Wow. And Coravin still has a patent, right? So nobody else can really do this right now. It's just them.
There's some other people out there that are trying to, Plum Wine made a wine device that uses a needle, kind of like a Coravin, but it's in a cabinet. And I make an adapter for that. Vinotemp, makes products. I have an adapter for that. Wine Station, they have capsules also. I make an adapter for that. So
Wine
anything
Station has capsules, huh?
yeah.
So for those who don't know, wine stations where you line up, you've got a bunch of bottles lined up, right? And you kind of push the button and pour a glass.
Yeah,
One of those.
there's four in a cabinet, and they get I don't know, something ridiculous like $700 for 3 capsules. They're a little bit bigger, but it's still ridiculous. And I sell a lot of those also. So anything that has to do with argon and wine, I can make.
Wow, because a lot of wineries have moved to the wine station kind of thing, right? I mean, there are a lot of wine bars, I should say. You go into them and they really don't have anybody pouring anymore. They've got the station, they give you a card, and you've got your 60 wines to go choose from. So fascinating. Wide open for you.
Yeah, it gives me some alternatives to other devices out there. So and the funny part is people call me up, and this is how that started. 4 or 5 years ago. I have a wine station. Can you make one for me? I go, yeah. Send me your end piece, and I'll figure it out in a couple of weeks.
Wow. Do you print this stuff? Is that what you're doing? Or are you doing?
No, I have a machinist.
You do? Wow.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Machines everything for me. It's
Fantastic.
really not that difficult.
That's great. Well, John, cool product. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad that Steve, said, "Hey,
Yeah, me too.
you got to reach out to John." So to find you, you're going to go to Argon Wine Adapter or S or no?
Adapter one singular.
ArgonWineAdapter.com. Check this out. If you're a restaurant, if you're a wine bar, I'm going to go to my local favorite nice fine dining establishment here because they actually do the opposite, which is they open 15 bottles of wine and then they end up dumping half of them.
That's just dumb money to throw away. Yeah,
it really, really is. So and also, hey, if you're a wine enthusiast, go for this. So, John, really a pleasure having you on the show. You got something else to show?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to show you, and you could hear it. This is filled now, so
yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. It's plug and play, all of it. One quick thing is when you screw my regulator into the tank, there's a rubber O-ring, so you don't need any tape on it or anything. So tanks are really easy to change. So it's plug and play. If you can screw in a light bulb, you can use this.
Fantastic. Well, John, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Hey, everybody. We want to thank you for joining us again. And if you have any desire to check out the latest corkage fees in the world, well, head over to corkajourney.com. We're your #1 source for corkage fees. We also have wine reviews, winery reviews, and restaurant reviews. Stop by at corkajourney.com, and please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Would really appreciate the support. Thanks again, everyone. Cheers.